This thing is fully aero focused.
This is a new era in speed.
Cervélo just made the fastest gravel race bike on the market. Let's check out the all-new Áspero-5. Let's start at the front end of the bike. It's a fully redesigned cockpit that's two pieces so that you have maximum adjustability and customization. The fork got significantly deeper, it's more aerodynamic, and it has this brand new direct mount front brake. The bolts go through the fork and attach straight to the caliper, ditching the brake mount adapter. That makes it lighter and makes the braking stiffer. Next, onto the down tube. It's deeper, more aerodynamic. It looks pretty similar to me to the Soloist down tube, except with a storage compartment in it. It comes stock with these Arundel cages. They're my favorite. A new seat post for the Áspero. It is the same profile as the Soloist one, but it has been redesigned for more saddle angle adjustment. And that saddle clamp is lighter. The tire clearance got bumped up from 42 to 45 millimeters. All around, this bike got a ton of improvements, but I want to hear from Cervélo why they made some of the changes that they did. I'm here at Cervélo headquarters, and I was able to get some time here with Maria Benson, the head of product management. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Of course.
All right, so we are talking new Áspero. You had a hand in this bike?
Of course, yes, my whole team did.
First off, there's a trend in gravel riding. People are going to bigger and bigger tires, 2.1, 2.2 inch mountain bike tires. And you guys decided to keep this spec to 45 mil max. How did you guys come to that?
The reason for that is because the focus of this bike is pure aerodynamics. You can imagine putting a big knobby tire in the wind tunnel. It kind of throws all of those aerodynamic designs that we spend so much time on out the window. And because the bike is very focused for a specific type of race, we targeted races like the Mid-South or BWR or even SBT gravel, where there's sometimes a lot of pavement involved or a lot of smooth gravel. And that size tire paired with a smooth, high volume tire was the fastest option that we found.
That is something that stands out to me in the spec here. You guys went with a slick tire. How did you come to that?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I just said about putting a knobby tire in the wind tunnel. It kind of throws all those gains out the window. Exactly.
Okay.
But a high volume slick tire actually has quite a bit of a contact patch and can have plenty of traction for those types of races that are not necessarily super muddy or, you know, more of a dry condition.
So with a gravel bike, especially a gravel race bike like this, I'm sure you came into some points where you had to choose between aero and weight and comfort and all of those things. Are there any specific places on the bike that you had to make sacrifices in those or chose one over the other?
Luckily, with our approach to this design, we don't feel we made any compromises in that area. Typically, when you're looking at making something more aerodynamic, you end up adding surface area, and that makes that airfoil longer, which is typically a faster shape in the wind tunnel.
Does that typically stiffen out the tube?
It can also make it stiffer as well. But what we did is we took an overall approach, like we didn't leave any stone unturned, and we found ways in the way we manufacture bikes or typically design something to pull weight out. One example of that is the front fork brake mount. Typically we would mold in a larger aluminum slug that serves as the threads for the brake, but in this case we have a through bolt system in the fork, so we've removed that aluminum piece altogether.
So where that front brake mount is, where the bolts go through, that's all carbon. There's no
That's
aluminum
correct.
in there. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
super cool. For gravel racing and riding, compliance is, I'm guessing it's a different target than what you're hitting for like a road race bike like the S5. Are there different compliance targets that you're going for, stiffness targets that you're going for?
In fact, every one of our bikes has a different stiffness profile, and that's very intentional. Our designers have come up with ways of making bottom bracket and head tube stiffness ratios that are specific for each use case, and this bike is no exception.
There's been a lot on aero here. Other than aero, what plays into the speed of a gravel bike?
I think handling is one of the biggest things that the Áspero, not just this bike, but the generations of the Áspero have really offered speed where other gravel bikes haven't. We designed gravel gravel bikes to handle very similar to how a road bike handles, but accommodating larger tires. That fast, quick, nimble handling is really important.
Some other brands are elongating front center and slackening out head tube angle. You guys are keeping everything tight and quick.
Exactly.
That's right?
Yeah. We use trail number as one of those main indicators of how the bike is going to handle. And if you look at the trail numbers of the Áspero-5 compared to most of our road bikes, those numbers are very close together.
Looking at the front end of the bike with the two-piece bar stem, how did you guys end up on that?
You know, the industry is kind of going to one piece in a lot of places, and we see that the gravel customer still needs more customization than a one piece would allow them to have. Maintaining a two-piece system allows, you know, customizing sizing, obviously, but we've also designed this handlebar to be compatible with our extension mounts that we have originally designed to go with the S5. The shape itself was taken after a legacy handlebar called the ABO4, which was a Cervélo handlebar specifically designed for a previous generation S5. Yeah, and so the ABO4 was a very fast shape, and we already knew that. So we took that as the inspiration and redesigned it to be aerodynamically fast with our current ST31 carbon stem, making it 6 watts faster than the previous handlebar was on the previous Áspero-5.
Do you ride gravel? What's your gravel riding like?
So I grew up in the Midwest. I lived on the East Coast for quite a while, and so I'm very familiar with wide open gravel roads that are, you know, like farm roads, or even on the East Coast, you could get a lot of single track kind of tied into those farm roads. But yeah, the gravel riding in Southern California is quite a bit different.
I see a lot of single track around here.
There's a lot of single track. A lot of times it's under biking, which is very dynamic and adds quite a bit of excitement to what gravel means to different people.
Excitement's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Is one of these going into your garage?
Absolutely, it's already there.
All right, well, Maria, thank you so much for your time here. This has been great. I'm gonna see if I can get out on one of these and test it out and see how it is out on the gravel road. All right, first ride on the new Áspero, and this thing rips. I took it down some smooth, kind of rolling champagne gravel, and then also video producer EJ did what he does best. If you guys watched the Topstone video we released a couple months ago, you'll remember he loves sending me up and down really gnarly, really rocky stuff. So we went down this really steep chute, and the traction on the slicks did better than I thought. If I got this bike, I would keep these slicks as an option in my garage, but I would probably put something a little bit knobbier on for everyday Marin riding. My first impressions, the handling is really quick. It's really responsive. The bottom bracket is nice and low. It feels grounded, but it is steep. It is quick. It is a fast race bike. If that's what you're looking for, this is the bike for you. If you want something a little bit more versatile, something that is more on the gravel adventure side, we've got the Topstone, we've got the Giant Revolt, we've got the Stigmata. There are options for you. But if you are looking for a thoroughbred race machine, the Áspero-5 is it.